Mullaghmore, a beautiful fishing village on the west coast of Ireland, windswept and exposed to the Atlantic. This small place would be otherwise known only to those who holiday here had it not been for the events which took place on the 27th of August 1979. Lord Louis Mountbatten used to holiday here at Classiepawn Castle. His family cipher remains here to this day. Lord Louis Mountbatten, the Earl of Burma, the last Viceroy of India, whom King Charles referred to as the grandfather I never had a rich history of public duty and service to the British Empire. His history, however, is not without controversy, but we will not cover that in this video today. He was a chief of the defence staff, he was the first Sea Lord, and he was a wartime hero from both the First and the Second World War, where he took the surrender of the Japanese forces in 1945.
And now the Supremo, Admiral Lord Louis Mountbatten, was there in person to receive the surrender from the Japs. He enters the municipal building where the surrender is to be made.
I have come here today to receive the formal surrender of all the Japanese forces within the Southeast Asia Command. I wish to make this plain. The surrender today is no negotiated surrender. The Japanese are submitting to superior force.
Lord Mountbatten's time at Classiepawn was spent hunting, fishing and writing. He was well known to the village where he kept his boat named Shadow 5. He would head off into the North Atlantic to lay his lobster pots before returning the next day to check his catch. On the 27th of August, Mountbatten went with 6 others to the pier where they would embark on their voyage to collect their lobster catch. Unbeknownst to the security detachment and to the party of 6, 50 pounds of gelignite explosives were placed inside the boat the night before by members of the IRA. When the boat was approximately 300 yards from the shore, the bomb was detonated, killing Lord Mountbatten. Also aboard the boat were his daughter Patricia, Lady Brabourne, her husband Lord Brabourne, their twin sons Nicholas and Timothy Knatchbull, Lord Brabourne's mother Doreen, the Dowager Lady Brabourne, and Paul Maxwell, a young local boy who had won a gig to tend to Shadow 5 for the summer season.
At Mullaghmore, a mile from Lord Mountbatten's home, more of the wreckage has been brought ashore by guarded divers. Pieces of the wrecked 28-foot boat Shadow 5, which had been lying between 15 and 30 feet beneath the surface, a quarter of a mile offshore, and is now being reassembled roughly at a local Garda station for forensic examination. The shattered and splintered woodwork is mute testament to the severity of the bomb blast. This is all that remains of Earl Mountbatten's 28-foot boat Shadow 5. And it's quite obvious from the injuries to the bodies that Earl Mountbatten and the 15-year-old boy, Paul Maxwell, took the brunt of the blast on last Monday. One of the first people at the scene said later it was a miracle anyone at all had survived the explosion. The blast was so powerful that the footwear was not only blown from the victims, but the rubber soles were torn away from the canvas uppers of the shoes.
On the 5th of September 1979, Mountbatten received a ceremonial funeral at Westminster Abbey, which was attended by the Queen, the royal family and members of the European royal households. Watched by thousands of people, the funeral procession, which started at Wellington Barracks, included representatives from all 3 of the British Armed Services and military contingents from Burma, India, the United States, France and from Canada. In fact, the United States sent 70 sailors from the US Navy and 50 US Marines to take part. Nicholas, aged 14, and Paul, aged 15, were killed by the blast. The others were seriously injured. Dowager Lady Brabourne, aged 83, died from her injuries the following day, and Lord Mountbatten was 79 years old.
In August 1979, my much-loved great-uncle Lord Mountbatten was killed alongside his young grandson and my godson Nicholas and his friend Paul Maxwell, and Nicholas's grandmother, the Dowager Lady Brabourne. At the time, I could not imagine how we would come to terms with the anguish of such a deep loss, since for me, Lord Mountbatten represented the grandfather I never had. So it seemed as if the foundations of all that we held dear in life had been torn apart irreparably. Despite the tragedy of August 1979, the memories that Lord Mountbatten's family have of Classibon Castle and Mullaghmore, going right back to 1946, are of great happiness. I look forward to seeing at last the place that he and they so loved, and to meeting its inhabitants. The poet Yeats, who is of course buried at Drumcliff, once wrote, "And I shall have some peace there, for peace comes dropping slow." As a grandfather now myself, I pray that his words can apply to all those who have been so hurt and scarred by the troubles of the past, so that all of us who inhabit these Atlantic islands may leave our grandchildren a legacy of lasting peace, forgiveness, and friendship.
King Charles visited Mullaghmore for the first time in 2015, taking with him a message of peace and reconciliation. On the same day, August 27th, 1979, the IRA also killed 18 British soldiers near Warren Point in Northern Ireland. This was the single heaviest death toll for the British Army for a decade at that time. After Lord Mountbatten's death, graffiti began appearing in Republican areas which declared, "13 dead and not forgotten. We got 18 and Mountbatten."
As I am speaking, British and Indian forces are finishing the job of clearing up Burma. It's not a comfortable war, but its hardships are being accepted with cheerfulness and its problems faced with courage and endurance.
So if you found this video interesting, why not give it a like, subscribe to the channel and leave me a comment. I will reply to every single one. Until next time.